I think for the local press is going to be very hard, because in purely economic terms, if you are, I don't know, a mechanic in a city nearby, the best way to advertise is through Google, or maybe Facebook, or through Google mostly. This is where you will be able to find your customer in a very granular way and with a very measurable success rate, not in the newspaper, unfortunately. So I tend to believe that when it comes to the local press is, I'm sorry to say, is likely to disappear. Some will survive with niche product, again, providing, if you have, I don't know, in a small community, what used to be a news organization providing great newsletters about something with very strong, different and editorial and very high quality editorial, that could make sense. They could have some subscribers and stuff. But the idea of having a fairly powerful local newspaper is unfortunately completely forgotten. At some point, I tend to believe that if we project ourselves 10 years from now, of course, I have my concern as someone who loves the news ecosystem, who loves the news and who believes in the importance of journalism, and more crucially to the importance of the notion of informed citizen. This notion of informed citizen is quite kind of in jeopardy right now. When it comes to the interaction between publishers and platforms, I think that increasingly platforms can find ways, kind of naturally find ways to subsidize the press at some point, under the pressure of the publishers themselves, under the pressure of regulators, under the pressure of government and stuff, because they see this huge discrepancy, this huge gap there is between a news industry, which is now engaged in a super fast downfall, and the continuous rise of platforms which are making huge amount of money. So at some point, we might see a kind of rebalance in that field. However, I mean, I'm not sure it's going to be completely beneficial for numbers of reasons. The first one, and I'm French, and I know what I'm talking about because that's the case in France. In France, the news ecosystem has always been very heavily subsidized. And we can see that subsidies is not the best way to foster innovation. If you subsidize something, you basically kill innovation. That's a fact, okay? So that's one thing. So having some kind of artificial streams of revenue that instead of coming from government will come from platforms, I'm not sure that's the best way for news. And secondly, I think the most important is that the last thing that the news ecosystem needs is to recreate some kind of dependency to something. I would be very concerned to have a significant amount of money coming from Facebook or Google, as it will recreate some kind of dependency. And I don't think it will be sound. My dream would be to have self-sustained news publication, news ecosystem, but very little dependent on platforms.
Yeah, absolutely right. So a subsidized press in Germany, where I am now, there is a big movement against the subsidies from the government, and because of the liberty of press.
Yeah, so, I mean, and actually there is, if we look at the situation in the United States, I mean, they tend to, you have Europe, which tends to beg platforms to give them money. Same thing in Australia. In the United States, which is much more market-driven, they tend to refuse the money coming from the GAFA and stuff. So I think they are right. I mean, news needs to be free. News need to thrive on their own sound ecosystem. That's my belief.